Because money is an absolute abstraction above all concrete goods, it is encumbered and distorted by every quality outside its original character. The value of money may be increased or decreased independently of its material value by an expansion or contraction of the function of money, even in the case of its value stability, which is closely connected with its material value. The Roman emperors had the exclusive right to mint gold and silver coins, while copper coins, which were used in everyday transactions, were minted by the Senate or, in the eastern provinces, by the towns. This provided some kind of guarantee that the emperor would not inundate the country with small coins of no substantial value. The final outcome was that the emperors continued their debasement of the silver coinage, which led, in due course, to the total collapse of the Roman coinage. This produced a strange reversal of value relationships. As a result of debasement, silver coins became the means for everyday transactions, while copper coins, which had not changed in value, became increasingly the standard of value. The original role of the metals as representatives of money value was reversed by a change in the relative stability of their value. It has been emphasized recently, with reference to the greater importance of stability value as against material value, that a transition from paper currency to the gold standard does not necessarily involve a resumption of gold payments. In a country such as Austria, where the currency notes are at parity with silver, a changeover to the gold standard would bring about the decisive advantage of a stabilization of money value, and would accomplish the vital function of gold without using the material itself. In recent times, the interest in the stability of money value has even led to proposals for abolishing the metal reserve against which notes are issued. So long as such a reserve exists, the various countries belong to a common system which submits domestic transactions in each country to all the fluctuations of political and economic events in all the other countries. Unguaranteed paper money, since it could not be exported, would have the advantage of being available for all kinds of enterprises within the country, and above all of having complete value. Stability. However much this theory may be open to criticism, the mere suggestion illustrates how the concept of money has been psychologically separated from the concept of a money material and how it is gradually being perfected through the notion of functional services. All these functions of money are obviously subject to the conditions that apply to the general dissolution of money into functions. At any given time they are only partially valid, and the concepts indicate a line of development the goal of which is never reached. The fact that the values that money is supposed to measure, and the mutual relations that it is supposed to express, are purely psychological makes such stability of measurement as exists in the case of space or weight impossible. The declining significance of money as substance. In practice, the stability of value is accepted as a fact when any question arises concerning the repayment of a money loan after the value of money has changed. If the value of money has declined generally so that the same sum is of lesser value when it is repaid, then the law disregards this fact. The identical sum of money is taken to be of identical value. If the coinage has been debased by alloying or by changing the standard, then the law may decide that the debt shall be repaid according to the new standard, or according to the metal content of the new standard, or simply at its nominal value. Generally speaking, the view prevails that money retains its value unchanged. Such stability is, of course, also a fiction where other objects are concerned, and no one doubts that, for example, 50 pounds of potatoes lent in the spring may be worth either more or less when they are later returned in kind. In such a case, however, reference can be made to the direct significance of the object, while the exchange value of potatoes may fluctuate, their value in providing satisfaction and nourishment remains unchanged. Money, however, has no value of this kind, but only exchange value, and the assumption of its value stability is thus all the more striking. Reasons of expediency will tend to ensure that this essential fiction becomes true. I have already indicated that in the case of money which is made from precious metals, the connection with jewelry helps to maintain stability of value. As the demand for jewelry is highly elastic, it absorbs a larger quantity of the growing supply of precious metals and thus prevents too great a pressure upon their value. And on the other hand, a growing need for money can be satisfied by drawing upon the stock of jewelry, from which the required quantity can be taken and a rise in the price of precious metals avoided. The continuation of this trend seems to imply as its goal the complete elimination of the material basis of money. For even a material as suitable as a precious metal cannot altogether avoid fluctuations that result from particular conditions of demand, production, and processing, which have little to do with the fact that the metal also serves as a medium of exchange and as an expression of the relative value of goods. Perfect stability of the value of money could be attained only if it were nothing in itself, but only the pure expression of the value relationship between concrete goods. Money would then reach a neutral position which would be as little affected by the fluctuations in commodities as is the yardstick by the different lengths that it measures. The value of money established by the performance of this service would then also reach its maximum stability, because the relationship of supply and demand could be regulated more easily than when it depends upon a substance the quantity of which we can never fully control. This is not to deny that, under particular historical and psychological conditions, the value of money may be more stable if it is tied to a metal than if it is detached from it, as I observed earlier. Thus, to return to the analogies used previously, while the deepest and most sublime love may be that between two souls, which excludes all carnal desire, so long as such love is unattainable, the sentiment of love will develop most fully where a spiritual relation is complemented and mediated by a close sensual bond. Paradise may fulfill the promise of eternal bliss under conditions in which the consciousness of bliss no longer requires the contrast of opposite emotions, but, as long as we remain human, positive. Happiness depends upon the contrast with our other experiences of pain, indifference, and depression. Thus, although money with no intrinsic value would be the best means of exchange in an ideal social order, until that point is reached the most satisfactory form of money may be that which is bound to a material substance. This condition does not imply a deviation from the persistent trend towards the transformation of money into a purely symbolic representative of its essential function. A particular stage in the process of differentiation between the functional and the material value of money is indicated by those cases in which a certain kind of money is used as a standard of value but not for actual payments. Money cannot exercise the function of exchange without, at the same time, measuring values, but the latter function is in certain respects independent of the former.